I do not write for representation's sake or to satisfy an audience's hunger for authentic intersectional stories. I write because it is my chosen form of resistance, self preservation, and defiance. Alice Wong, Year of the Tiger, An Activist Life. The fight isn't over. Autosomography as activism. Alice Wong was born on March 27, 1974, the year of the tiger, in Indianapolis, Indiana. The title of her memoir connects to her heritage as a first generation Chinese American, but it also speaks to her life as a disabled woman, born with spinal muscular atrophy, and her lifelong work as an activist for disability justice. Just like Disability Intimacy and Disability Visibility, two books that Alice Wong previously edited, Year of the Tiger is a collection of essays. But this time, all the essays are written by Wong herself. Many of them were originally created for her Disability Visibility project. The book is divided into 7 sections: Origins, Activism, Access, Culture, Storytelling, Pandemic, and Future. Each section explores different aspects of her life in activism, touching on topics like Medicaid, identity, and accessibility. Wong was inspired to tell her story after seeing how disabled people's lives were deprioritized during the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. She also makes it clear that Year of the Tiger is not a typical memoir. There is nothing neat, sentimental, or inspirational about it. Instead, her writings offer an honest and unapologetic glimpse into her life, echoing Couser's concepts of autosomography, where disabled writers reclaim control of their stories and also reflecting the 10 principles of disability justice. Alice Wong is deeply rooted in the Bay Area's disability community, birthplace of both the community living and disability justice movements. She founded the Disability Visibility Project there in 2014 with a partnership with StoryCorps that collects and amplifies stories of disabled people. Year of the Tiger reflects this legacy, an activist memoir that embodies the 10 principles of disability justice. Throughout her writing, Wong leads from her lived experience in multiple intersections. She presents every part of her identity with equal importance, insisting that those directly affected by oppression must shape the movement, an example of intersectionality and the leadership of those most impacted. Her storytelling builds both cross disability and cross movement solidarity, uplifting queer, trans, chronically ill, and other marginalized disabled voices. And in doing so, she shows that each movement strengthens the other. Wong's reflection on healthcare, survival, and pay inequity challenge capitalism's myth that worth is tied to productivity. She insists that disabled people are whole, valuable beyond what they produce. She models sustainability by valuing rest, pacing, and care as essential parts of activism. She especially emphasizes the important role of digital activism and how that can make activism accessible to all. Finally, Wong embodies independence, collective access, and collective liberation, creating systems of care that allow disabled people to fully live and thrive on their own terms. Throughout her storytelling, she celebrates the principles of disability justice, offering not just her life story, but a roadmap for collective freedom. I've read abstracts for a lot of disability memoirs. I would venture to say that a majority of them are inspirational, exceptional, heroic, angelic, tale of adversity, or courageous narratives. I present to you instead an impressionistic narrative comprising irregular dots that fade, drift, and link rather than a soaring symmetrical arc. In her introduction, Alice Wong makes it clear that The Year of the Tiger isn't your typical memoir. She openly rejects the ableist mold that so many disability stories are forced into. As she writes, this is not a harrowing yet triumphant account of discrimination, ableism, humiliation, and pain. From the start, Wong refuses to perform for inspiration. Her storytelling mirrors the reality of disabled life, complex, nonlinear, and deeply rooted in community. She doesn't try to make her story redemptive or even tidy. This isn't sanitized. Wong shows her personality. She's funny, bold, and unapologetic. She also drops pop culture references and even swears. Her writing drifts loops, and resists resolution, much like the lived experiences of disability itself. Year of the Tiger is a memoir without a filter, honest and full of life. Wong includes pictures, comics, assignments, tweets, even a crossword puzzle. These elements invite readers to actively contribute, to think, write, and engage alongside with her. As an additional note, Wong hired disabled and Asian artists to create these visual and interactive features, further advancing her disability justice mission and emphasizing collaboration over individualism. Couser's concept of autosomography is heavily reflected in the intentions of this memoir. In Signifying Bodies, Couser describes it as a way for disabled people to reclaim narrative control over their own bodies and experiences. As he writes, the culture of representation of disability has functioned at the expense of disabled people. Through life writing, disabled people move from objects of representation to agents of representation. Wong's memoir, through her honesty, humor, and refusal to conform, reclaimed not just her own body, but the authority to define herself. Her memoir also pushes back against critics like Dr. A. M. Daniels, who dismiss disabled life stories as less meaningful. Year of the Tiger rejects this erasure. Wong reclaims this authorship not as a symbol of overcoming, but as an act of disability justice and self definition. Her memoir was released in the fall of 2022. Just weeks prior to its publication, Wong shared a blog post titled, My ICU Summer, a Photo Essay. This post reads like an epilogue to her memoir. Throughout Year of the Tiger, Wong reflects on her future, acknowledging that her spinal muscular atrophy will eventually make eating impossible. In this blog post, that reflection becomes a reality. She documents her time in the ICU after a collapsed lung and undergoing both a tracheostomy and a placement of a feeding tube. True to her voice, Wong doesn't share this experience for pity. She instead uses it to expose systematic failures of healthcare and the ableism embedded in it. Even as her body changed, Wong continues to use digital storytelling as a powerful act of resistance. Afterward. The title of this presentation draws from a quote from Alice Wong's The Olmsted Decision and Me from her Disability Visibility blog. Until every disabled person can live the life that they truly want, the fight isn't over by a long shot. This quote is reflected in nearly every page of this book as Wong's activism fuels her memoir. I really enjoyed this memoir. It is a quick read. I think I read it in about a day. It's broken up into 7 sections, and you get to know different aspects of her life and her activism. I also appreciated that she really likes pop culture, particularly things like Star Trek and X-Men. Growing up as a teenager, when I found out that I had a condition, I really related to the X-Men, so I found that as a way to be able to connect with her. There is a lot of multimedia. She really encourages you to write in the book and use it almost as a workbook. And in the spirit of that, in my notes, I have also included a crossword puzzle that I wrote about my experience reading this book. So I hope you enjoy it.